What is going on, everyone? It is DerekJ Speaks back once again to talk about the April 8th, 2024 edition of Monday Night Raw, the post-Wrestlemania 40 episode of Monday Night Raw. Over the past couple of years, the PostManiaRAW shows have severely dipped in quality to the point where, in cases like last year, they're pretty much bad. This year was better, but it wasn't quite the same spark like in years past, like going back 5, 6, 7 years. It ain't the same, but we still did get a pretty good episode of Raw overall, starting off with a very unique opening segment. Of course, the show opened up in a big way with Triple H out there thanking the fans for the success of WrestleMania, and he introduced the brand new undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes. Even showed Cody a special video package dedicated to him, and it was a nice little piece. It was cool. It got Cody emotional, and of course Triple H left the ring to Cody. They hugged, of course, but then Cody proceeded to cut his promo. Of course, the fans are super into him, giving him the "you deserve it" chants, all that good stuff. And Cody is cutting his big promo, and he even showed for himself a video of his daughter Liberty. And his big takeaway is that now, whenever Daddy fights, he is not fighting as a challenger, but he is fighting as a champion. Pretty soon, The Rock interrupted him, the final boss, and he came out to significant boos from the crowd. He got the Roman Reigns post-WrestleMania 33 treatment, where these fans just would not let him speak. And he would go to speak, he would go to put the microphone up to his face, and just straight boos from the crowd. So this was a Philly crowd that was fully pro Cody Rhodes and anti-Rock. But eventually, he was able to talk. He congratulated Cody, gave him his flowers, and he promised him that on this show, there would be no harm, no fireworks, no blood spilt, none of that stuff. It's very civil between these two, for tonight, at least. And then he made a very odd request, because The Rock came out with the People's Championship belt that was awarded to him by the widow of Muhammad Ali at the Hall of Fame. The same championship belt that looks better than the belt that Cody Rhodes is wearing. Rock requested from Cody that he hold the undisputed championship belt. You see the fans, they're chanting no, and Cody obliged, and he even suggested that he hold The Rock's little custom belt. And so they exchanged belts. They're holding them up. You get the shot of The Rock holding the undisputed championship. He was talking about how basically he's a belt mark out of nowhere, and he wanted to hold the championship. So Cody let him do it. And Cody held on to his championship belt. But we got the shot of The Rock holding on to the undisputed championship. The fans thought this was weird. They even broke out into a "this is awkward" chant. So odd, but I guess you could argue that this is some kind of psychological game from The Rock, because even he was saying how it felt good to hold on to that championship. Hopefully that is the only time we will ever see the image of The Rock holding on to that title. But they gave the belts right back. There was no physicality between the two of them. Nothing happened physically between these two in this segment, even as it got towards the end. But either way, The Rock announced that he's going to be stepping away for a little while. And of course, the fans cheered. I think they even broke out into yes chants. I think they started the "na na na" song and all that. So the fans here were very happy to hear that The Rock is going to be going away for a little bit. But he wanted to give some closing remarks to Cody and congratulate him, but basically saying that when he comes back, whether Cody is champion or not, he's coming after Cody. And Cody is looking forward to it, as he said. Rock pointed out that Cody managed to finish his story and he beat Roman Reigns in the middle of the ring 1, 2, 3 on night 2 of WrestleMania. But he reminded all of us that he beat Cody 24 hours earlier on WrestleMania Saturday, night 1, right in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3. So Rock definitely has his sights set on Cody Rhodes. He said Cody's story with Roman is now over, but the story between himself and The Rock has only just begun. Cody, he reminded The Rock that he is the champion. He is the champion of the fans. He is their champion, and pointed out the fact that if The Rock is indeed the boss, the final boss, then that makes himself The Rock's champion. So there you go. Some tense stuff between the two of them. But before The Rock had a chance to leave, he wanted to give Cody a gift. And The Rock reached into his pocket, extended his hand out, holding on to something. He had his fist balled up, so you couldn't see it. He told Cody to extend his hand out, and he placed it in Cody's hand. Never once did we ever see what it was that The Rock handed to Cody. So let the memes flow on people guessing what the hell The Rock just handed Cody Rhodes. But he told Cody that he didn't need to open his hand to know exactly what that was. So whatever it was, Cody knew what it was. And he told Cody, don't ever break my heart again. And if you smell what the final boss is cooking. Cody's face looked pissed. So clearly whatever this was, it was not something that Cody wanted or really appreciated Rock giving him. I'm sure we'll figure it out at some point down the line what this gift was. Will we find out what it is next week? Will we find out later this week? Probably not. It'll probably be something well into the future that we'll have to go back and remember, like, oh yeah, that was something that happened all the way back in April after WrestleMania. So overall, this was a good segment. Cody got the big ovation from the crowd. He had Samantha Irvin re-announce him as the champion. You know, the fans were firmly behind him. They hated The Rock, but they were very explosive and into the face-off between these two. And like The Rock said, their story is just beginning. There is a whole story to tell between The Rock and Cody Rhodes. And in my opinion, this is your main event for SummerSlam this year in Cleveland. So all systems go for that. As far as The Rock stepping away for a little bit, I figured that would be the case. Could he still be on SmackDown this week to take care of Bloodline business? It's possible. As of right now, I don't remember them announcing that he will be on the show on SmackDown, but they never made the announcement that he would be on Raw tonight. So this is something that they've been doing recently. So I don't know if he and or Roman will be on SmackDown this week, but keep your eyes locked on that to see if that will be the case. But this was the big highlight of the night. This is what opened the show. But what closed the show had to do with the World Heavyweight Championship. It was a fatal four-way number one contenders match between the winner of the 2024 Andre the Giant Battle Royal, Bronson Reed, Jey Uso, Ricochet, and Drew McIntyre, the former World Heavyweight Champion, for 5 minutes. He came out first, cutting a promo, pissed off about the Money in the Bank cash-in, pissed off about the fact that CM Punk is the one who cost him the world title and led to him getting cashed in on by attacking him from behind. And he was basically telling CM Punk that anytime in the future, it's going to be on site between the two of them. So whenever they see each other, it's going to be pure straight violence from Drew McIntyre straight to CM Punk. And he even talked about how Punk is probably going to be disappearing for months and we'll never see him again, or at least we'll not see him for a very long time. And whenever he sees him again, he's going to drop him, he's going to destroy him, and he's going to do worse damage to him than the injured tricep that he caused. Then, of course, he was interrupted by Jey Uso, went to commercial, and they came back, and we got the match, which overall was a very good match. It didn't go that long. There were about 2 commercial breaks during it, I believe, and it was some fun action. The big high point of it, of course, was Ricochet hitting a springboard 450 splash from the ring out onto Bronson Reed, who was laid out on the Spanish announce table. They had the 2 announce tables for the show tonight, so you knew something was going to happen to the Spanish one, and of course they waited until the main event for that big spot. But back in the ring, towards the finish, McIntyre laid out Jey Uso with the Future Shock DDT. He got in the corner and he began to set up for the Claymore. And he did the 3, 2, 1. And as he went to charge out of the corner, he was stopped as someone was pulling on his leg. And you could hear the crowd rise in their reaction because it turned out to be CM Punk, who for the second time this weekend, in fact, for the second night in a row, has screwed Drew McIntyre. And this was pissing off Drew. He was yelling down at CM Punk on the outside. Punk was just laughing, mocking him, taunting, throwing up the 2 sign, talking about how this is the second time he screwed him over. Jay came at Drew McIntyre with a flying super kick, hit him with a spear, and then went up top and hit him with an Uso splash, and he scored the victory. And Jey Uso is now the new #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. I figured McIntyre probably would not get an immediate title match, and Seth Rollins, according to some reports, he's going to be taking some time off for a few weeks, so that left the spot wide open in terms of who would get a shot first. And Ricochet has been getting some shine on Raw over the past few weeks, so thought it could be him, although Jey Uso, they love Jey Uso, so it made sense for him to get the win here. I don't know what this means for CM Punk. I don't know. Like I mentioned during my WrestleMania Night 2 review that he did take off the brace, but if you noticed, he was just stomping on McIntyre and he was hitting him with the other arm. He never at any point used the torn tricep arm, so very likely that he's still injured and not cleared to compete, but we shall see. But this stuff between him and Drew McIntyre has now intensified to the point where one would think we would get this match coming up very soon, possibly in France at Backlash next month, but I don't know. That really depends on how soon CM Punk will be able to come back. As for the rest of the show, we had some good stuff, but nothing really that blew anything away. Speaking of the World Heavyweight Championship, the same title that Jey Uso will be challenging for in the future, we did get an appearance from the World Heavyweight Champion on this show. Got introduced by his fellow Judgment Day members. Got a "You Deserve It" chant from the crowd. Said, "You're damn right I do." Told everyone to rise for the Judgment Day. And you got a shot of him and Rhea, the 2 world champions in the group, raising up their titles. And then right from behind, in the center of them, comes R-Truth with his Raw Tag Team title. And here we go again with Truth mingling around with the Judgment Day. He brought out The Miz, so now everyone's in the ring going back and forth. And Finn Balor basically challenged Truth and Miz to a handicap match. But Truth insisted that he and Miz will have a tag team partner. A partner that you cannot see. And of course, they get attacked, and then they go to commercial. They come back, and we have a handicap match. It's Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and JD McDonough taking on Miz and Truth. They are getting overwhelmed with the 3-on-2 advantage until, for the second night in a row, we hear the trumpets, and out comes R-Truth's childhood hero, this 40-year-old man. His childhood hero, John Cena, runs down, and he is officially part of the match. And he gets the tag in. He hits the 5 moves on JD McDonough, and then he has Miz and Truth come in. They each hit a 5 knuckle shuffle, and collectively a 15 knuckle shuffle, as Michael Cole put it on commentary. Then they each hit one of the members of the Judgment Day with an attitude adjustment, each pinned them and scored the win. And all 3 of the baby faces posed for the crowd. Big ovation for the John Cena appearance here. I definitely wasn't expecting it, so that was a nice little surprise for this match. So good stuff here. It entertained me, that was fine. We had a couple of NXT appearances on this show. Not necessarily call-ups, because I don't think they're going to be a call-up yet, but we did get some appearances here. Shinsuke Nakamura came out for a match, and his opponent was the NXT champion, Ilya Dragunov, who is an incredible performer, one of the best physically. His facial expressions are great. Ilya Dragunov is great. He is the current NXT champion, so I don't know if he will be coming to the main roster soon or not, but it was good to showcase him here on this show. He did get a pretty good ovation from the crowd when he came out, and he ended up beating Nakamura with an H-bomb and a flying elbow. So good for Dragunov. We also had an appearance from the brand new NXT Women's Champion, Roxanne Perez, who won the championship this weekend at NXT Stand and Deliver. She took on Indy Hartwell, who had Candice LeRae in her corner. They've been playing the story of the Candice LeRae heel turn, and now she's also trying to corrupt Indy Hartwell, and she was trying to convince her to let her help and interfere in this match. But it didn't work, and Roxanne ended up hitting the Pop Rocks to get the win. These 2 matches with these 2 NXT people was significant because, at least in the case of Dragunov, I don't know if they announced it for Roxanne Perez as well, but they did announce it for Dragunov that he will be eligible to declare himself in the WWE draft. We are getting a draft once again. It is starting on SmackDown this month on April 26th and will conclude on the following week's Monday Night Raw on the 29th. So they're going to shake up the rosters again, hopefully for the better, and I guess I'm looking forward to it. I have no idea what kind of moves will happen. I think there's at least a chance Cody is staying on Monday Night Raw with his championship, and they might send Damian Priest and the entire Judgment Day, for that matter, over to SmackDown. I think there's a very strong possibility that could happen. I think we could see Rhea Ripley end up on SmackDown and probably in a position where she's on the same brand as Bianca Belair, who could pose as a future opponent for Rhea Ripley. So I think if I had to make any big proclamation, I would say Cody Rhodes is going to stay on Raw with the WWE Championship, and Damian Priest and the World Heavyweight Championship might switch over to SmackDown. It could easily be the opposite way, where Cody goes to SmackDown. He's technically the champion on SmackDown, so one would consider him a SmackDown star right now, but we'll see if they make that official during the course of this draft. Elsewhere on this show, we had the start of the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour. We saw Liv Morgan attacking Rhea Ripley backstage. So, Liv Morgan, I know a lot of Liv Morgan diehard fans out there were really clamoring for her to get the match at WrestleMania. And story-wise, it would have made sense. Rhea Ripley is credited for being the one to put Liv Morgan on the shelf with her shoulder injury. So it makes sense that Liv would want revenge on Rhea. And she tried to win the Rumble. She tried to win the Chamber. She failed every step of the way. But now the focus will be on her. And, there is a story here between her and Rhea Ripley. So that should make for an interesting feud heading into what I presume will be a championship match at Backlash that I believe Rhea will win. I like Liv too, but I do not see her being the one to beat Rhea Ripley for that championship. Rhea will lose that title at some point this year, I think, but I don't think it will be to Liv Morgan. But they can get some entertaining segments between the two of them on TV and hopefully have a pretty fun match at Backlash, then that's all that matters. We had a vignette hyping up the return of Sheamus. Sheamus's name has been floating around on the interwebs for a little while now. Of course, he is one of many people who have some contract negotiations going on, along with people like McIntyre, Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch. These are people whose contracts are coming up pretty soon this year. And so there were talks and murmurs about Sheamus and whether or not he might re-sign with the company. We haven't seen him since, I believe, the match with Edge on SmackDown last year, which was the last time we saw Edge in WWE. So we haven't seen Sheamus since that match either. But apparently he's coming back soon. There was no return date given, so just be on the lookout for whenever he comes back. We had a quick squash match with Chelsea Green. She was running her mouth off with the GMs, and she ended up getting a match on this show, and it ended up being against Jade Cargill, who immediately hit her with the Jaded and got the win. So can't even really call it a showcase for Jade Cargill because she only hit the one move. I mean, puts over the move, but that's about it. It was just an excuse to get her on this show in front of the crowd and give her a win. So good for her. We had a segment from the new Intercontinental Champion, Sami Zayn, cut a nice, passionate promo to the fans. Was interrupted by Imperium, that being Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser. They surrounded him until Chad Gable, who has basically been Sami Zayn's trainer over the past several weeks heading into WrestleMania, he came out there, made the save. We got a tag team match. Very decent match. Nothing overly special about it, but it was very good. One of the better matches of the night. And we got a really cool finish where Sami Zayn tagged in Chad Gable. Giovanni Vinci's in the far corner. Sami charges at him, hits him with the haluva kick, and then immediately Chad Gable gets a hold of him, hits the Chaos Theory, the rolling German suplex, and scores the pinfall victory. The good guys win. And then later on in the show, we had a backstage segment between these two, and they all but set up an Intercontinental Championship match, which we found out even later in the show will be official for next Monday night on Raw. I'm very curious about this match because Chad Gable, he told Sami that he would help him, but he wanted a favor. And of course, playing up the whole Rocky 3 thing with Apollo Creed and Rocky and all that. So that was a play off of that. I'm surprised we're getting the match this soon, but I am curious about what direction they're going to go in with Sami and Chad Gable. Keep your eyes open for in case of a heel turn. I'm smelling a potential heel turn for Chad Gable. I'm not sure, but it could happen, especially if they do have a match next week and it's fine, straight up, no shenanigans with it, and Sami Zayn wins. Very, very interested to see what comes of that. But that's about that. So that really covers the main things that happened on Monday Night Raw. Like I said, not a horrible show. You didn't get a whole lot of great in-ring action. That main event was fun, and it was fun seeing, Ilya Dragunov wrestle on this show, having a nice little quick match with Nakamura. That was pretty entertaining. Seeing John Cena come out there to pose with R-Truth and The Miz, I guess that was fine for what it was. And the tag match with Sami and Gable against Imperium was pretty good. But the days of those boisterous post-Mania-Raw crowds, like the crowd was still hot for a lot of the things that happened on the show, but there was nothing that really popped out in terms of a big debut and big surprises and all that kind of stuff, chaos that we've seen in some of those other shows. But I can confidently say this post-Mania Raw show was leagues in a way better than the one we got last year and the year before, which were a whole lot of nothing. So at least we have that, and they are continuing to establish that we are in a new era of WWE. They once again had a record-breaking sellout, record-breaking gate for the show, so they're still doing well. Let's just hope that now that WrestleMania has come and gone, we can look towards the future and we can continue building this momentum for the company and for these shows. So let's hope so. And as far as this show, this might not have been the best show, but let's hope that SmackDown this week can be even better. It's still up in the air as to whether or not I'm going to be reviewing that show. I'll see how I'm feeling, and I'll see what kind of goes down on that show. And if it's worth talking about, in my opinion, I will. But in case I don't, then the next time you'll probably hear from me, we'll be talking about AEW Dynasty. Because, boy, if AEW needs a shot in the arm, then now is the time. Because this past week has not been good for that company. I'm not going to get into it now, but yeesh. And if what they are promoting for this upcoming week's episode of Dynamite is legitimately going to happen, I don't see it going all that well for them this week. But that's a story for a different day. We'll see how that plays out elsewhere. As far as this is concerned, thank you guys for tuning into this channel for these past couple of days and all the WrestleMania coverage. It means a lot to me. Thank you very much. And even with this review, if you're liking what you're hearing and seeing, hit that like button, subscribe, comment down below, and follow me on Twitter /X at DerekJ Speaks. Until next time, check you later.